Let's go through the top 5 do not do's on a foundation, and let's go through the 5 single most important must-do items when you're pouring a foundation on every single house. We got prices in excess of $40,000 to do the foundation on this 2,500 square foot new construction build that we actually ended up doing for less than $34,000. And here's the whole price breakdown on how we were able to do it. We came in, we did the dirt work for $4,000. We did a cut, we did a fill, and $4,000. We came in and we hired a crew at $300 per person per day, and came in for $2,100, and we set all the forms and dug all the footings in one day and paid them for 2 days worth of labor. Our plumbers come in, they're gonna do their rough in on Monday, and then we come back in and we have 110 yards worth of concrete that's gonna be poured. At $160 a yard, we come in and we spend just right around $16,000 on the concrete itself. We have $3,800 in rebar, insulation, and remesh that goes down on the pre-slab prior to coming in and doing the pre-slab inspection. The material will include not just the rebar and the remesh, but the insulation between the house, the garage, the heated and the unheated areas. The labor to put that in is $2,000. Then we have $4,000 to prep the slab, do the pre-slab, and get everything ready and manicured for pre-slab inspection. An additional $2,500 will be spent the day that we pour to be able to facilitate 8 finishers to be on site and pour the foundation. Another $1,800 for a boom truck will come in to actually pour the slab, and for a total of $37,000, we will save over $5,000 from our lowest bid on the foundation by coming out and subbing it out to multiple contractors to get the entire pad site done. And that's how you go out and you increase your bottom line and profitability on every single house. This house today is not one of my builds. Today, we have the fortunate opportunity to be on one of our students' builds. And the best feeling in the world, better than going out and doing your own builds, is when you go out and you actually help somebody else succeed at doing something they can't do without your influence. And today, one of the most important things that I want to talk about is the 5 most important elements to getting your foundation done correctly. And when we came in and we went to, and I started working with this gentleman, I told him, I said, look, the single most important thing you need to pay attention to, and there's certain do's and don'ts that you need to make sure that you have taken care of. So when we started this foundation, I told him, look, we've been doing these slabs for just shy of 30 years. Let our tractor guy come in and help assist you, since this is in our local market. And he landed up through a relationship hiring another contractor for the same price that we were going to charge him. So it was a wash either way. And because that relationship was going to give him bandwidth to get it done quicker, he decided to go a different direction. And so we were concerned about the overall compaction of the slab. And so one of the most important things is the subgrade compaction. Now, there's a couple ways to mitigate it, to understand and know exactly that your pre-slab has been done correctly. You can either over excavate and go down and then do a refill, but the civil engineers will protect you against any type of catastrophic issues, provided that you utilize them correctly. So when we come out, we always come in and recommend that people get what's called a soil density test. You have the civil engineer come in and do a soil test. Now, there's multiple types of different civil engineers. This is a soil engineer that specializes in hydrology specifically and soil. And so you have them come in to do a soil sample. They tell you what type of soil you have. They tell you if it's good soil, bad soil, if you can cut from one side of the lot, fill to the other side of the lot, and be able to go in and take advantage of utilizing what's on site, so you don't have to import or export dirt. Now, if you import or you export dirt, it's always going to cost you more for your pre-slab. So if you have the ability to utilize the dirt on site, it's always going to save you money. But you want to make sure that your compaction is done correctly. Otherwise, your overall foundation could be compromised long-term, causing you long-term issues and even litigations and lawsuits to settle or repair a very expensive repair. So this is one of the most important aspects of an entire home, if not the most important. Now, when we go in, they'll tell you exactly, do you need to over excavate? Can you cut? Can you fill? And what needs to be done? Now, once you over excavate and you start that fill work, you want to do what's called soil density tests, and you want to do it in lifts, meaning that when you come out with a tractor, you want to make sure it has the right hydration on it and it has the right compaction, and you're rolling it to the right level of compaction. So when you come out and you do your foundation, the civil engineer will come out every hour or every time you get to a new lift. They'll tell you no more than 8 inches. You roll it, you compact it, Then they come out, they shoot proctors into the ground. They tell you, yes, you can go on to the next lift, or they'll tell you less water, more water, or you have to take some dirt back out and what you need to do. Now, good dirt guys never have to take dirt back out. They understand the recipe to compacting a good slab. The more experienced tractor operator that you have, the better your foundation is going to be and the less money it's going to cost you. So sometimes by just having a tractor operator that doesn't have experience doing pad sites is the wrong way to go. It's always better to use somebody with experience that may cost you a few dollars more, but less in problems on the back end. Now, once you get to your final lift and your compaction is done, it's always important to get the surveyor out. Item number 2, get your surveyor out to mark your corners. When you get your surveyor out, it's going to cost you between $300 and $500 to have them come out and mark the corners of your entire house. But the benefits to that is that you know that house sits at the exact points that it's supposed to. So when you get into framing stages, you know that the variables are decreased as far as that slab being imperfect. So you don't have to worry about the imperfections and having to fix the framing because the slab doesn't match what's supposed to be on the ground due to the inefficiencies of trying to do it independently and saving $500. So utilize a surveyor to mark your corners and make sure that your point settings are exactly where they are supposed to be prior to setting your forms and making sure that your pre-slab is located in the right areas. Now, once we come in and we do this, we always take what's called the slough, the excess dirt from the footings, and we typically migrate that dirt to the outside of the slab. The tractor guys on this slab actually put the dirt on the inside, creating more work for them at the end of the pre-slab because this dirt will have to be exported out and removed from the pre-slab upon completion of the actual pre-slab itself. Now, when we come in, we want to make sure that we give room and access for the plumbers because the plumbers will come in if you're doing a monolithic slab and do all their plumbing lines prior to you doing your pre-slab so that way all of their rough-in of their underground plumbing and pipes for the water and sewer lines are facilitated prior to your pre-slab. Now, this does disturb the soil. So what you have to remember is that when you come in, you disturb that soil, it has to be recompacted upon completion of the backfill. So one of the next most important items that you have to worry about when you're working on these pre-slabs is that when you pull the slough out, you have enough good soil left to backfill and compact the subgrade. One of the ways that I always know that my subgrade is compacted correctly is I look at the walls and the slough that falls off of my walls once those footings are cut. So if I come in and I see a lot of slough, meaning that my walls are just falling down and caving in, I know that my compaction has issues. When I come in and I see it sliced and you can see the veins along the infill areas, you know that that subgrade compaction has been done well. And so when we come out and we look at these items, these are small tips to be able to tell that you have a great foundation and a solid base for your home. Now, once we come in and we facilitate our rough-in, we will come back in and we will compact everything. You want to compact in layers. You want to make sure that your plumbers and your concrete guys have plate compactors or jumping jacks on site the days that they're actually backfilling your work. You also want to make sure that the soil has hydration in it. One of the ways that I can always tell if the soil has enough hydration is I'll dig through the first couple inches of soil, especially after the pre-slab was newly done, and there should be moisture in the soil. When I pick up that soil without even compacting my hand, it should hold together to some type of ability. Now, if I squeeze the soil and moisture flows through my fingers, I know there's too much hydration in that soil. But if I get that soil and I compact it, no moisture's coming through, and I can throw it up in the air and it doesn't fall apart, I know that I have enough moisture in that soil to actually hold and compact that foundation. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it at least gives you a general feel for where you are with your pre-slab, because if you go in and your soil's too dry and you try to compact it, when you pull it up in the air, the whole thing falls apart, okay? When you come in and you get your real subgrade material and you throw it up, you should have a solid base enough to be able to compact that soil. Now, these are some of the most important variables that you need to pay attention to. Upon completion of your entire pre-slab, you want to make sure that you have a minimum depth of 4 inches throughout your entire slab on a monolithic slab. And depending on where you are in the country and what your engineer calls out on your structural components, whether you're doing post-tension slab, monolithic slab, or you're doing stem walls around your entire house, will depict how you come in and finish your pre-slab prior to construction and framing. But ladies and gentlemen, these points taken are the single most important items you need to pay attention to when you're doing your pre-slab and ultimately your finished foundation on every single house. For more construction tips, real estate tips, and building hacks that increase your profitability, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that thumbs up button, but don't forget to comment down below what you need help with and what you learned on this video itself. And if you're watching this for a second time, comment #repeat. So that way I know who's watching, repeating, and learning the process to buy land, build houses. I'm going to recommend a couple videos on the process of buying land and building houses right after this video, but click subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the other side.